When it comes to Pangolin's native token called PNG, there's three hypothetical price scenarios that I'm thinking about in my mind. However, even though nothing I say is financial advice, I'm totally aware that as of right now, altcoins aren't necessarily doing the best. However, this is just, again, what I'm thinking about in an event where maybe, let's say, there is even a full-on type of altcoin season during this cycle. However, only time will tell. But nonetheless, the first scenario that I do have on my mind is maybe the idea of PNG at the price of $3, which is actually a 25x from here. And the market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, it'd be around 670 million. However, to me, why wouldn't this necessarily surprise me? It's because when I take a look at Pangolin, I do like its fundamentals. Like, for instance, if I take a look at it, Pangolin is a multi-chain decentralized exchange. However, if we take a look at it historically speaking, Pangolin launched in 2021 on the Avalanche network. Now, this is something that I am a fan of when it comes to Avalanche because Avalanche, it's a very popular layer 1 blockchain. And if we take a look at it, because again, Pangolin, it's a decentralized exchange, I think it falls under the category of the decentralized finance market. If we take a look at, for instance, again, DeFi, aka decentralized finance, when it comes to total value locked on DeFi, according to DeFi Llama, I've always seen like how Avalanche is kind of consistently in that top 15 type of range. So I find that very impressive, and I think Avalanche as a layer 1 blockchain has a pretty impressive DeFi ecosystem. Also on top of that as well, Pangolin has, for instance, deployments in places like Hedera, and I'm very, excited as to what maybe Hedera could be. Also on top of that, we see again deployments when it comes to Pangolin in places like Flare. And Flare, I'm also, very excited for that. We also see something like the Near protocol and also much more. Now I get it. When it comes to PNG, the current market cap is below $30 million. And some people may be thinking, okay, why would you still care about that? Well, the way you take a look at it is this. If I actually like a project, I'm a fan of the project, and I'm just accumulating, and then the price is actually low, kind of relatively speaking, why would I find that as a bad thing? It's like, for instance, let's say I want to buy a t-shirt, right? And the t-shirt I want has a discount, like let's say it's 50% off. Why would I suddenly be like, oh yeah, I don't want it? Now, I'm not telling you not to do anything, by the way, but this is just my outlook when it comes to, again, the projects that I'm holding. So if I see, hypothetically, kind of relatively speaking, low prices and I'm dollar cost averaging anyways, it's not something that I would be disappointed with. But again, this is just my perspective. However, when I consider also, right, according to Grandview Research, the decentralized finance market is expected to be worth over $200 billion by 2030. So I still like, kind of the market overall. And again, I get it, as of right now, things aren't necessarily doing the best, but, things could always be different moving forward. Like, again, the way you take a look at it is that, yeah, sure, things may be a certain way right now, but who knows, a month later, 2 months, 3 months, right? So this is just why I treat it like a marathon. I don't treat it like a sprint. I'm just staying patient. However, I do like the fundamentals when it comes to Pangolin. I like the aspect of Avalanche. I like how, again, when it comes to PNG, the market cap is relatively speaking not that massive as of right now. And just overall, I like the vibe of the project. However, besides all that, PNG hypothetically may be at the idea of $3 during a fully fledged type of hypothetical altcoin season. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me. Now, I want to take a look at the next hypothetical price scenario, and that is maybe at the idea of $4 when it comes to PNG. That's around a 33x from here, and the market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, it'd be nearly 900 million. Now, I don't really view this as something as a market cap that is too outlandish, like for instance, Uniswap, right? Which many people consider as the most popular decentralized exchange out there, but even besides that, Uni, which is its native token, back in 2021, reached a market cap of over 20 billion. And again, PNG at the price of $4, considering current circulating supply, market cap is still like, slightly under a billion. So that's like over 20 times less, basically, than what Uni reached quite a while back ago, back in 2021. Again, I don't think it's such a ridiculous market cap to me, but this is just my perspective. Like maybe if the market cap needed was like, 40 billion or 50 billion, then, I mean, come on, I don't even think hypothetically I would even consider that. But again, this market cap just doesn't seem that outlandish to me, but this is just the way to take a look at it. However, the third and final hypothetical price scenario that I do want to explore is maybe the idea of $5. It's around a 41x from here, and the market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, would be around a billion. Now, if I take a look at the factors right now, like for instance, how there's supposedly over 600 million crypto owners, which is, allegedly more than ever before in history, whereas in the peak of the 2021 bull run, there was around 300 million crypto owners, so we basically have a very big difference right now in terms of the amount, right? I mean, basically double. And also on top of that, I take a look at the Bitcoin ETF and the Ethereum ETF. And now I get it, sometimes you like to say, but, there's many layer 1 blockchains out there. What makes you think that something like Pangolin, again, having that kind of avalanche aspect, what makes you think it can even do anything? Now, the way you take a look at it is that, yeah, sure, there's many layer 1 blockchains out there, but I don't think it's only just like one that could really do something, right? Like, for instance, even right now, sure, Ethereum is very popular, but there's still Solana. And if we take a look at Avalanche, it's still very massive, right? As a layer 1 blockchain. And so is Algorand. We take a look at Cardano. I mean, there's a lot. So I don't think that there's only just going to be one. It's like, for instance, there's many car brands out there, right? Yeah, sure, there's Toyota, but there's also Nissan, there's also Honda, there's other car brands too. So the way I take a look at it is that I still like Pangolin, and I like the factors that I'm seeing right now when it comes to this, cycle. But again, only time will tell. But if there is ever a fully fledged type of altcoin season during this cycle, if it looked better than back in 2021, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me. And PNG maybe at the idea of $5 wouldn't necessarily surprise me either. And now some people may be wondering, okay, what is the timeline? Personally, for me, I'm not going to be able to find the exact perfect moment because, again, I don't think I'll be able to do that. But at least I can take a look at the past and take a look at some clues, maybe. Now, it may be different this time around, but again, I'm just going to take a look at what I've observed from the past. Now, typically, altcoins, as a worst-case scenario, they usually peak around a year and a half after a Bitcoin halving event. So if we just consider a year and a half from the last Bitcoin halving event back in April of 2024, that would actually mean October of 2025. Now, actually, October is very close, right? It's just like days away at this point, right? October. But then at the same time, it may not necessarily happen in that month as well. Like, personally for me, again, that's just based off history. Like, maybe it extends all the way up until March of 2026. Like, who knows, right? So, again, all I can do in this situation, personally, in my perspective, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. That is just by me staying patient, holding, and just waiting. Again, that's it. I can only control myself. I cannot control what the market does. Especially, if I take a look at what's happening in the short to medium term, like, things are just going to move up and down like that. Like, I have no way of finding the perfect moment or anything like that again. So all I can do is just control myself, and I'm just dollar cost averaging, holding, and staying patient, and just waiting for a moment in time in maybe in which, hypothetically, if it even does something. But again, all I can do is stay patient. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.